In Kentucky, Medicaid eligibility and benefits are determined by the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, and they are set forth in the state health plan. The state health plan is adopted as an administrative regulation, and so it's the executive's function to put forth that administrative regulation. The legislature plays a role in that regulation goes through a review process, and then in the end becomes law.
So you believe you'll withstand any?
There will be general funds that will start creating the match necessary for the new federal funds, and it starts off at, it ends up at 10%. I think it starts off at 5 and then stair steps up between 2017 and 2020, and then we will end up at 10%. And so the approximate federal dollars coming in, new federal dollars coming in, will be a little over $10 billion, and it will require about $473 million of state general fund money to match that over the next 8 years. But as you can see, we're going to create a positive budget impact of over $802 million, and so we're going to have more than enough money to pay for that match.
You're talking $473 million per year over those 8 years?
No, a total match. And I might add, this $802 million positive budget impact, that's after subtracting that $473 million of state match.
Governor, I think a lot of folks have on their mind when they think about this decision.
I don't think their taxes are going to be affected at all. The positive economic impact that we're going to see in this state from the expansion of Medicaid is going to create a net of $802.4 million of extra money over the next 8 years. And that's a very positive thing. That's not going to require anybody to pay more taxes to implement this Medicaid expansion. When you get beyond the years 2021, it's pretty much a wash from there on out. However, neither this $802.4 million nor the figures you see that are nearly a wash after 2021 take into account at all the additional positive economic effect that a healthier Kentucky will have on this state. And there will be a huge economic effect of a healthier Kentucky. Think for just a moment about having a workforce that is so much healthier than this over here. Missing less days at work, being able to miss less days at school. You know, all of that is an intangible, obviously, and we didn't attempt to assign a number to it, but it's going to be a big plus for us. Well, first of all, our managed care operation is working, and is working pretty well. We are ironing out a few bumps in the road, and we are sitting down with every one of the hospitals and working through their accounts receivable. It's been interesting so far in that as we work with those hospitals, those numbers that they start out with seem to dwindle significantly as we get the facts together and work through them. But we're going to sit down with every one of them, and we're going to clear up all of those accounts receivable, and we're going to make sure that there's a process in place from here on out that will address them in a timely manner. So the hospitals, for the most part, want this expansion because they're going to lose $287 million in dish payments over the next few years. And if we don't expand Medicaid, they're going to have to suck that up on their own. And if we expand Medicaid, then they will get reimbursed for that indigent care because of Medicaid payments. Well, we're going to be amending the managed care contracts, obviously, because we've got an expanding population. All of the managed care organizations we're working with are excited about this, and they're confident that they can handle the situation. And we will be working with them between now and January 1 of 2014 to make sure that we've got everything structured in the appropriate way. Benefit package for the newly eligibles will be the same benefit package that the current eligibles have. Well, we're going to obey the law, and we're going to structure our program within the boundaries that the Affordable Care Act set out. As I just mentioned, the benefit package for the newly eligibles will be the same benefit package that the current ones are receiving now, and we're going to march right ahead. We certainly hope not, but the fact is that if something changes on the federal level and if the federal government decides to change the rules, we always have the option of withdrawing from participation in the expansion. That is the same option that we have to opt into the expansion. We can opt out of it at any time we feel like it's necessary.
To that point, Governor, is there an exit?
Quite honestly, these figures are very conservative figures that have been put together not by us, but by PricewaterhouseCoopers and by the University of Louisville Urban Studies Institute. And I'm very confident that these numbers are not only accurate, but they're conservative, and that we will see the kind of positive budget impact that we have here, and that we will see the kind of positive economic activity that the University of Louisville projects.
Governor, I don't understand when you say $473 million of state money over the next 8 years. When does that begin? Those 8
2017. In other words, we've got the first 3 years, there's zero state money in terms of a match. And then it starts kicking in, and it works its way up to 10% in 2020 or 2021. Yeah. Very good question. I think a lot of it's politics. All you got to do is look back over the last 4 or 5 years and how the politics in Washington has brought this country to a screeching halt in terms of any kind of moving ahead, because nobody can agree upon the time of day, much less anything else. And it continues. You would have thought that an election in 2012 might have sent a signal to everybody about the way the people of the country wanted to move, but you still have this reluctance, based mostly on partisan politics, I think, to get together and to move on. And I would invite any governor across this country to sit down and make this kind of analysis. If they find it's not good for them, then fine. But, you know, the numbers speak for themselves. I don't care whether I'm a Democrat or Republican. Look at these numbers. And these numbers come not from me, not from our cabinet. It comes from independent analysis by 2 very reputable firms and a university. And it just makes sense. Number one, it makes sense financially, but more importantly, it makes sense in a humane way. You know, we are going to have the opportunity to have every Kentuckian have health care insurance. That's huge. That's huge. Never happened before. And the long-term effects of that are really incomprehensible. When you look at where we are right now under our current system, look at how we've done the last few years. We still rank right at the bottom. You know, I'm determined that we're going to change that, because if we change that, Kentucky will change dramatically.
You seem emotional. Is this a legacy for you?
No, all the MCO companies are excited about this expansion, and they're going to be very willing to open the contracts and include these additional eligibles. We're moving right along with the implementation process. We're going to be making some announcements in the next few weeks on further steps we're taking. It will be set up and ready to go on the deadlines that are called for in the Affordable Care Act, and as of January 1 of 2014, we're going to be hitting the ground running. Thank you all.